A supplement. We live in eventful times. Charles and Camilla are now Mr. and Mrs. Windsor. The world will shortly celebrate the appointment of a...
The law allows for procedures for medical reasons until the 24th week of pregnancy. Howard has tried to force his stance backed by the Catholic Church on its way to wanting to outlaw abortion completely. He doesn't believe it should become an election issue. His in the law. Charles Kennedy, a Catholic as well, has previously voted for...
Chacharia there. Well, joining us in studio are three prospective parliamentary candidates. Conservative Peter Garrett, Liberal Democrat Qassim Afzal and Labour's Katey Ussher. Also joining us are guests representing religious and non-religious groups. But before we come to them, Peter, let's start with you. It's your party leader, Michael Howard, who's kicked off this abortion campaign. You yourself are anti-abortion, but 60% of the population are pro-choice. Shouldn't you be reflecting their views?
Well, I think the film we watched was fantastic because it put together the very beginning of life, the baby jumping about, moving in the womb, and the very end of life, the Pope, the Holy Father lying in state. And I think that's where I'm coming from. I believe in the sanctity of human life.
Let's move on to Qassim here. Qassim, you're Liberal Democrat, your party is pro-choice, you as a Muslim are anti-abortion. How can you square that with your conscience and your would-be constituents?
First of all, I don't think that this issue should become a political football, really. It's a very serious and sensitive area to be discussing. I personally feel that if there is a choice, the choice should be that of the mother. I mean, with today's technology, do you have a second partner? Will you have a second partner? And if you're looking at whose choice it is and who's carrying the baby, it's the mother herself. But I think what is very important is to be able to identify when the child is, let's say, you have life, trees are life.
Isn't that going against your religion?
I'm not going against my religion. I personally would not like the concept of abortion. I believe that life is important and one should cherish life at all costs, but at the same time one has to look at the dangers that may be imposed upon the mother. Now, if the fetus is in such a situation where the mother's getting, her life is in danger, then I think you have to look at this from a new angle.
Is this just because you're picking up on a vote winner here?
Well, we're all politicians and we all want to please our electorates, but I don't want to sell my soul doing that. So I'm not going to lie. I'm telling you from, let's say, a Muslim perspective, abortion is not recommended, but if the mother's life is in danger, one has to take that into consideration. But we shouldn't be making a political football of life and death.
OK, let's move on to Kitty, because we've heard the Archbishop of Westminster saying that the Labour Party is no longer the natural home of Conservatives. This is a big vote loser, isn't it?
Of Catholics.
Of Catholics, I should say, not Conservatives, Catholics.
Well, I know a lot of Catholics who are certainly voting Labour, and I think that rather makes the point, which is that although this is an extremely important and sensitive issue, and people have very strong views, some people have very strong views on either side, and views that I respect, it's not actually what will determine how they vote in most cases.
And that's what you say, but let's turn to Francis Morris over here.
If you haven't got a right to a vote, a home or education or anything else. And I would like to take up the point the Liberal Democrat gentleman made there, in that if you have a case where it's mother versus baby, that is not an abortion. If you lose one of them in the process of saving the other, that is not an abortion. An abortion is an operation the sole purpose of which is to ensure that the pregnancy ends and there is no live issue from it. That's not the same as having a medical condition where you've mother versus baby and you can only save one of them. The loss of one is unfortunate, but it's...
Well, let's just take another religious view on this. Joy.
On those lines that we are not in favour of abortion, but the mother's life is paramount when it comes to a choice. If mothers' either mental or physical health are in danger, then certainly the rabbis would condone and would agree to abortion, but we certainly don't agree with abortion on demand.
So is this a voting issue for you?
I don't think it is, and I don't think it should be. I really think that all these moral issues should be a matter of conscience, both for MPs and for the electorate. And I do regret that when issues like this are put in the public arena in a way that is actually trying to make you vote in a particular way. I think we're a little more sensible on that, and I think we will look at our choices.
Take it that way, Claire, because since the Abortion Act was passed, There have been 6.
That faith should be respected and we should have this type of society.
Kitty, you cannot get away with that. You can't.
And for many years, including myself, I have fought for legislation regarding religious discrimination. And the Labour Party, I'm sorry, have not really done anything about it until now. Only after the issue of Iraq, after 9/11, when the Muslim vote started to move away from the Labour Party, they said, OK, we'll set up Labour for Muslims, we'll look at religious hatred, and we'll put a policy forward regarding that. They haven't done it, and they haven't delivered it today either. They've actually pulled it back.
But just coming back to the reality. Let's go to Sarah Saigal on this one. What do you make of all of this?
There are very hot issues for the Muslim community. The Iraq wars, #1, the anti-terror laws, #2, the other one's the incitement to religious hatred. All of the Muslim community doesn't fit into a box. There's no one party that fits it, and there's no one voice for the Muslim community. We are saying for the disabled people.
And Francis, on top
the issue that disturbs me most here is the fact that you can become mired in party politics and having to respond to other people's jibes. But the issue is there was a question asked that was not answered, which I find disturbing. And then also we move on to this idea of the family test. You couldn't be a Conservative manifesto.
John, let me...
And I have to say, it reads like the prologue to a little Britain. Britain.
John, you have some experience of red light zones. Now, you would know from being in America that in Nevada...
Would you, as the Conservative
I don't see
gay partnerships?
No, I don't. No, I wouldn't. I don't.
The people who have joined us today, thank you for all your views. That's it for this week. Who said you can't mix